Hello survivors, welcome to a brand new Soulstone survivor video. Today we are back on the Machinist and we've got a very weird and wonderful build for you today. So no one's really, or from what I've seen, no one's really playing weird and wonderful builds like these, but the idea is there. They're not there to really take you very far. We are going to go and do Sigil of the Void +0 with it and beat the Void King, which is already an accomplishment for this build in its own. But anyway, let's just tell you about the build. We are running Reroll Mastery, Skill Mastery Earth for Demolish, and Skill Mastery Electric for Thunder Slap. And then we are going to take Devastating Blow, Advanced Tactics, Elemental Power, and Efficiency Focus. Originally, when I tried this build, I ran Multicast Mastery and what was the other one? Like just Battle Proficiency or something else. Just for those, I actually took the Elemental one for the slow. And then I decided, well, we don't actually take any of the, Poison to Dazed or Disarray to Disoriented, so there's no actual reason to go with that. So we just took Elemental Power and Efficiency Focus, and we're going to go with it. So we're actually going to focus on 2 Titans only for the entirety of the run, and that's going to be the Cobalt brothers of Viv and Volkage, and then we're also going to grab a Brokenth. So we're going to start with a Volkage and Vivolt. And we're going to grab the Devastation upgrade from them. And as you can see, the skills have Brutal. What Brutal does is any direct damage caused by the skills, it's increased by 50% based on the distance from the target. So we're literally going to be in melee range the entirety of the run. We will eventually lower the visuals a little bit when we're doing boss fights, but otherwise it can be up the entirety of the time. Another thing that's really interesting is this build's going to show you what happens when you have multicast on auras. So a lot of the time people ask or wonder, hey, how does multicast work on the beam skills or on skills like this where it's just a random aura and they don't have a really low cooldown or they have a duration to them. So this is going to help with that, and hopefully we'll be able to show you what actually happens. So all the skills are going to have Brutal on them. And having Colossal over here separate from the skills and not via Brittle is actually going to show you how the multicasting on the skill works. So you'll notice multiple circles on the floor at the same time that don't go away, and that's because we're multicasting the actual circles, and they are going to have multiple circles around, as you can see over here, because the skill does multicast, but because the area of effect keeps changing, you actually see multiple rings. So that's because of a multicast, just a very interesting thing that's there that you may have otherwise not noticed or seen before if you don't use something silly like this. Come on game, please, just there we go, thank you. Alright, beautiful, legendary damage increase. And now we literally just go for things like cast frequency, multicasting. The slow on the skills is quite hectic for us, so we're not going to grab that. Movement speed and then merciless. Our weapon is quite high level, it was plus 413 or something, so it gives us a decent amount of critical strike chance for the beginning, but we're going to go and increase that to as high as possible because crit does stack. So it makes sense to just grab as much of that as possible, but otherwise we're looking for cast frequency so that the thunderclap can go off and demolish go off as often as possible, but we don't need cast frequency on unstable reactor because as long as the cooldown of the skill is lower than the duration, it will be up permanently, which is the most important thing for these kinds of skills, so that doesn't matter too much. Okay, done and dusted. Pretty quick and easy over there with those guys. The one thing is our Ascension is actually extremely strong, so we do use it. It gives us max health, damage, movement speed, and multicast chance. As you can see, again, the rings are all at different sizes. Obviously, the duration depicts, how long the ring lasts for. But yeah, definitely makes a big difference in how the skill works. So it's really cool. Just a nice way to show you, oh, that's your... how your multicast works on those skills. It's different between seeing it and actually like being told how it works and actually seeing it working to understand it a little bit better. Alright, so we did mention the basis of the build. We said a Brutal is what happens is its direct damage caused increases the damage by 50%. And then we've got Devastated, which direct damage caused by skills is multiplied by 3 on critical strikes. So we do need the 100% critical strike chance. That's why we want to get it up. For that Devastation, we're at 97% now. And what's going to happen is we're going to increase both of those powers. So we're going to increase the brutal aspect, and then we're going to increase the devastation aspect. And something that's really cool here is the game actually tells you the percentage increase. So once we get to the devastation increase, I'll show you what I mean by that. So right now the rune says increase damage by 3 times. That's not going to change on the rune, but it does change at the bottom left over here. So you'll just have to wait and see once we've beaten the Cobalt brothers to show you what I actually mean by that. Okay, area of effect's fine, just grab damage. Damage is probably going to be better. There, crit, we need that magnetic, that's a pretty good one. And then relentless, and some cast frequency. So this is going to be the lowest cast frequency skill. Getting it as low as possible is going to be good. It also gives us prowess and electrified. This is going to give us a Colossus, which does help quite a bit. But over here, we're just going to lower the visibility just a tad bit. And we actually start with the Kobolds because they're a lot harder to deal with than Brokenth. And since we're doing both of them, having them first and third is actually a lot better. So remember, I said it's going to increase the potency by 300%. If we click on it, unfortunately, it doesn't show it over there. But if you hover over the rune and you hold down Q, direct damage caused by this skill is multiplied by 12 on critical strikes. So it is now multiplied by 12 instead of multiplied by 3. So it's 4 times stronger than what it was before, which is crazy. So very, very strong over there. That's why we're using it. And we're going to do the same thing with brutal, except this time it will show it on the slider over there, like we've got, you know, when you hold down Q on the skills. So brutal will be a 400%, I believe, as well. Okay, put the visuals back on. And we are wrecking. I'm so happy I could finally show you guys a multicast visual on aura skills. It's just really cool to be able to visually see it now. Just pop our Ascension for extra damage. And everything should melt. And obviously the closer we are, the more damage we're going to be doing. Okay, there's actually 2 3s here, so that puts us to 13, and then there is the 2 in the corner there, but maybe a 4 will show up or something else. We've got a lot of damage over here. I'm actually going to take the cast frequency and that, increase the duration of our Ascension, and we can go and increase the damage. It gives us more cast frequency. We'll grab the area for these two, let our Ascension do more damage, and just general upgrades like these. We don't have a lot of rerolls. I've been using them, so that's you know, that is that. 15% damage for everything is pretty good. Increase the duration even further. Those are rare upgrades, so the fact that we're getting them quite often is very, very good for us, especially since we are using our Ascension. Alright, we are going to go into the portal for the extra XP, but we're not going to be going into anything with regards to using Brokenth a second time in a row. So we'll definitely do Kobolds first. Again, the reason we're doing it is because they are stronger, and the devastation power up is actually more powerful than the brutal one, especially just because of the skills we're using. So it's going to be a little bit stronger for us to go for a stronger passive first. And also Brokenth is a much easier fight than the Kobolds, so it just makes sense to go with them first. Okay, we took a little bit of lethal damage there, but it's fine, it's not the end of the world. More cast frequency. Beautiful, relentless. Multicasting. Love to see it. We're down to 1.2 seconds. Try and get it as low as possible. It just means more electrified stacks for us. And we'll show you at the end which skill has the most damage. You can, you know, take a bet and see which one you think was the best or the strongest. And I guarantee you're probably right. Actually, I don't think, I've got an idea of what you think is the strongest, and you're probably wrong. Alright, so here's the 400% brutal increase. Again, brutal does 50% based on how close you are to the target. We grab that, and now it says 250% instead of 50%. So again, it's literally, even though it says 400%, it feels like it's times 5 instead of times 4. So weird little calculation there, but I'm happy. Alright, more cast frequencies and crits. Relentlesses, so we're happy with those. Area of effect on those skills is good. I could have taken the multicast there, but it's okay. It's down to 1 second cooldown now, which is actually very, very good. I mean, pretty decent considering it was at quite a relatively low cooldown already, so you need even more cast frequency because it's off the base that it takes it off of. So the higher the cast frequency of a skill, the easier it is to get it to a lower cast frequency. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, but it makes sense to me. So yeah, that's how it works with that. We need a bit more movement speed. We don't need the area. I'm actually going to go and get rid of area of effect. This build, you don't want area. And then another thing that I didn't do or explain is usually I go Divine Legacy on my builds. Now, originally I was only going to be using Unstable Reactor, and I was like, you know what, it's not. When you're using a single skill like this that doesn't really do that much damage, it's better to maybe just use multiple skills that use the same kind of, you know, like in this case, they're all like brutal. So it just makes sense to kind of go thematic and use multiple skills. So use 3 of them instead of the 70% increased damage from Focused Mind. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I can defeat the Void King. It just takes way longer than this. And it was just much harder. So in my mind, I was like, you know what, it's not worth it. Rather just use more skills and you're able to have a much better time. So we didn't have Divine Legacy. Well, we did have Divine Legacy originally. And it literally only gave us multicast for the skill. So we were like, okay, well, it's kind of a waste, so let's change it. And that's why we don't have Divine Legacy. And also it only affects 2 of the 3 skills, because these 2 are physical, this one's magical. So we're not going to affect the Unstable Reactor anyway with multicast, with Divine Legacy. So I was like, it's pointless. Only certain amount of upgrades you can get for these skills, so no real reason to use Divine Legacy. Had to turn the visuals down just a tad bit because we were struggling with being hit quite often there. And also Thunderclap, now you can see, is actually causing our artifact power to pop off a lot more than what it was as well, which is extra damage, which is great. We're happy about that. We're going to go all the way to the back here for this one first, and then we'll do the other ones. Can't use skill chains, can't use, so synergetics are out of the way. There's just, yeah, you can't use half the stuff you can usually use in other builds. So no synergy, there's no Divine Legacy. It opens up a lot of other rune possibilities as well, which makes these more unique than other builds, which is also makes them really fun to play with. I guess for the last one we'll just be chased by a bunch of ghosts. And then for the boss fight we'll prepare the visuals being lower. Wouldn't it be fun if there was a skill that could defeat these void presences? That would be fun. I would enjoy that skill. Okay, again, it's just area of effect. I think the multicast is probably going to be way more worth it. So we'll grab that. Damage increases. We can actually banish area of effect now. Multicast. Critical strike chance we can grab, but I do like that swift as well. Ooh, we get a nice legendary over there. Get rid of the area of effects. I mean, I guess we'll take that little bit of armor. Alright. Okay, visuals don't have to be all the way down, but... Alright, so like I mentioned, this is usually a harder fight, so that's why we're doing it first. They are tankier and it's 2 bosses instead of 1, so it just makes sense to defeat them before we go back for Broken. And then again, we're grabbing another one, so it was a 300% with 12 times. It goes up to 600%, which is a 21 times increase over there, so pretty good amount of damage. And then we're going to do the same for Brutal again. So going from a times 5 or 250 times or 250%, it should go up to a 480 or something weird like that, but we'll see. But yeah, loads of damage now. It's beautiful.
This model's shaping up. That door won't last.
Again, it's just a concept build, so don't expect this to be able to go very far at all. As you can see already on like the Sigil of the Void plus 0, it hardly does any damage. It's more of just like a meme build that I enjoy playing. These are the kinds of builds that I like to show you guys. I like to play around with these things just to show you, you know, with the anything can be possible, kind of, with the trial and error and thinking about the, you know, the synergy between the passives of the Titans and then, you know, how the builds actually work. So if you give it enough thought and time, I really wanted Impactful to be a passive. Hopefully in the future it can be, but because that's even another, this whole build came out from a different idea I had with another skill, but unfortunately Impactful wasn't an option as an upgrade. So, you know, we couldn't use that skill. So I was like, hang on, well, what else can we use that people don't usually do? And it was Brutal. And I went to go look at some of the Brutal skills and I was like, oh, well, Unstable Reactor is pretty good. The Machinist is pretty good. Why not just use that? And that's where we are now and how we made it and where we came from. All right, more multicasting, more damage. Even more cast frequency. I'm happy with these things. We actually don't need the area of effects, so we'll get rid of that. And then it's just going to be multicast and damage and cast frequency for the skill. So that's actually pretty good. You can see I am grabbing a little bit of armor every now and then, or block. It's just for that little bit of security, just in case, you know, sometimes things can go wrong and you don't want them to. But yeah, quite a bit of damage being dealt. And there we go. So right now we are sitting on a 250% brutal. And then we go and we grab this and we are now at 450, like I said. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It actually took us 10 minutes to get through this, which is absolutely bonkers. I think I did it much slower when we did it before, but we went Brutal, Devastation. So again, trial and error. Knowing that Devastation is slightly stronger and going for it first instead of the Brutal does make things go faster as well. So, you know, as long as you know what you're doing, trial and error, you can improve builds, make them go faster, and so on and so forth. But let's see. The final few. But listen, if we get this to under 20 minutes, that is a heck of an impressive build. I think the first time I ever did Titan Hunt, I was actually wildly, even builds that I had no idea, you know, builds that worked for me in Overlord cycles and things like that were not working here. So, you know, it took me a bit of time, but now I've got the hang of it. We're able to do these crazy things again, which is awesome. Alright, we actually lost the life there, which is not good. Take our Ascension so that we don't lose our life again. The Ascension does provide us with quite a lot of damage, so we'll be quite good there. We're going to need some defenses. Armor. Manual aiming over here. We need to get rid of the flamethrower. There we go. Alright, get me out of the way. This is such bad luck though. Our luck is just terrific here. Okay, we need to start off with these two, I guess. It would be interesting to know if the brutal trait affected your Ascension as well, but I don't think it does because it would mention brutal in the Ascension. However, Prismatic Cannon does provide you with a whole lot of different debuffs like brittle, radiance, fragility, and so on and so forth, which it doesn't tell you about in the tooltip, but you know it is there. Also, don't get stuck on things because that means instant death. So there we go. Let's go defeat the corrupted Void Hunter. We need to have... I don't think we need the movement speed, so that's pretty good. Our critical strike chance, maybe we can get it to 200% before we land up... Oh, there we go, it's on 200, perfect. And we can just grab duration on there, because if we get it during the Void King fight, we will be able to keep it throughout the entire fight. So... let's see. And remember, we do have brutal, so staying close to the target means more damage. That was a permanent AoE, we just need to stay away for a bit. Our Ascension should actually pop up. There we go. And we're going to have to use it, but it's inside a AoE. We just need one more pop on it. There we go. And you should go down a lot faster now, thanks to things like fragility and stuff. Alright, so there we go. We had to use our Ascension though, but that's okay. We do get even more damage and things like that. There we go, damage cast frequency, so 0.8 seconds. A little bit slower than what we wanted. A 0.4 would have been better. But the Void King should be a easier fight. Ooh, do you know what? What happens if we proc Electrified behind him? Because then it just bounces between him and the walls. That's actually crazy. Big IQ moment there. Okay, if we can get our Ascension up. There we go. So now we've got the crystal beam busy beating him up. I'm just going to lower visibility again, just so I can see what we're doing. Our Ascension stays up. There we go. And we've got the final fight as well. We've got a couple of levels still, 0.7. And this should be the easiest part of all three fights. Hopefully. Still got one life, so we can lose one life. Preferably don't want to though, but if we do, it's not the end of the world, is pretty much what I'm saying. There's the animation to swing, hopefully being fixed in the next update. Move out of the way of those, and we dodged into one, unfortunately. But it looks like it is a GG for us. Unless I do something silly, and then it's not GG for us. Alright. And there we have it. 16 minutes. That's actually really, really good. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about the build. I thought that was pretty fun. and Electrify doing the most amount of damage, of course, because we had the ruins. So obviously changing a little bit of ruins made things a little bit better, but this is possible even without these ruins. Like I mentioned, I've done it before where we added the RC or frozen one and then multicast mastery, and we still did it. It was actually a little bit slower, so Electrify does do a lot of damage for us, but otherwise still worked out the way it was supposed to. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And always remember, keep safe, survivors. Until next time, cheers.